Good afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers and I'm leaning on the barn right now. Uh, so, if you follow us on Facebook, you might have seen yesterday our farm turns 5 years old this month. I'm leaning on the barn and I'm echoing. Let me see if I can scoot away from the door because that might get weird on the sound. I don't know. Anyways, our farm turns 5 this month. And so I said on Facebook, I'm like, I don't know what to do for fun, but I want to tell y'all our story again. And so I'm going to go way back this time for our story. So in 2011, Brandon and I got married, and our goal at the time was to have cattle and to have a cattle farm. And we wanted to grow vegetables and stuff just for ourselves. We never thought to sell them. But that takes money, and so he took a job out of college working as a crop consultant in the Texas Panhandle. And so in January 2012, we moved to Dimmitt, Texas, and we were living in a little house in town, and we didn't have definitely any space for cattle, but we had enough space in the backyard for a little garden. And so we just grew enough for us. And the following year, I was pregnant with Gracie, and she was due soon, and we planted our little garden in the backyard. And I remember when she was a little bitty baby, I would put her down for a nap, and I would take the little baby monitor outside with me, and I would go pull weeds or do whatever in the garden. It was one of my favorite places to be. It made me feel like I was doing something, and it was fun. And so in 2014, when Gracie was 1, we started our first farmer's market. We were going to the Hereford, Texas farmer's market. There was a lady out there who had been selling at the farmer's market for absolutely ages, and she would have a line across the parking lot when we started up, and she would sell out, and I would be jealous because I didn't always sell out because everybody knew who she was. But I sold jelly, and back then I used to sell like zucchini bread and banana bread, that sort of thing. And we sold the vegetables, and then I think it was the next year maybe that we got chickens, and so we started doing eggs. And when Skeet was a baby, we went back to that market. In late 2015, we moved to Plainview, and so then we had to find a farmer's market there. And we were very fortunate, again, to find somebody who had been market farming for a very long time. And so we learned from the lady in Hereford. We kind of learned some stuff to do, and then we learned again in Plainview some stuff to do. And we just really started to fall in love with market farming. And so in 2017, my grandmother passed away unexpectedly. And I didn't expect this part. My Mimi was absolutely my hero in the whole world. She was my hero. And she passed away unexpectedly. And I thought, I've got to move home. My pop-pop could go anytime too, and I won't be there. And so we started making plans. Our house was absolutely a fixer-upper, and we did all the things to get our house fixed up and on the market. And by this time I was pregnant with Kylie. We already had Lainey. I was pregnant with Kylie. And we got our house on the market, and we just thought, we got to go home. And Brandon had a job that he absolutely loved. He had the best bosses in the world. And he was just really enjoying it. But I just felt like I needed to be back home. I needed to be here if anything happened to Pop Pop, because he's my second hero. And so we finally sold our house in the spring of 2019. So here I am. I was 36 weeks pregnant when we moved. I almost didn't find a doctor that would see me. I was so far along. And we moved, and we immediately planted the garden. I mean, we had seeds in the ground before we even had our stuff unpacked. We were so excited. And so that was the beginning of our journey as the farmer's garden. In the Panhandle, we were Double R Farms. And so we started the farmer's garden when we moved back. That's like our starting point. So now you know where we started. But I want to kind of show you the vision. I want to tell you the vision that we had. So I'm sitting out here by the shop right now. I'm looking at thousands of onion plants. I'm looking at wheat. I can hear the chickens. I can see the cole crops. This is our thing. This is what we were put on this earth to do, is to farm like this. When we were trying to decide who we would be when we came to the back to East Texas, we wanted to be really specific in our marketing and all of the things. And so we said, we've got to figure out who our target audience is. And we had seen all along what happens at farmers markets when you have resellers come. Our Plainview Farmers Market had been going for years and years and years, and a new one started up in town that immediately started reselling produce. They just, like, pineapples, avocados, grapefruit, anything that they could think of, and it was not stuff that could be grown locally. And when they started reselling that, just like a grocery store, they killed our local farmers market. They killed the market that was true, homegrown, right in your backyard farms. And so we wanted to be so careful to never resell, because we had seen the damage that that did to that market. And so we said, who is our audience? Who will pay the extra bit, or who will go out of their way the little bit or whatever to buy what we have? And we were very specific that we wanted people who cared to know their food story. So what I mean by that is, you're here on our YouTube, or maybe you're on our Facebook or whatever, and you're here learning how your food is grown. Maybe you don't care to ever plant your own food anywhere. Maybe that is just not even on your radar. But you're here, you care enough to learn what we're doing to get that food on the table at market. And so that makes you our audience. Our audience is people who care enough to want to know where it came from. At every market, there's going to be customers who are just, maybe they're not that interested. They just aren't going to go the extra lengths to find things out. And the problem with that is, a lot of times that allows vendors to get away with selling resale goods. It has recently come to our attention that there's a few of those at our White House market. Every time we realize that, we go to our market vendors, and they're absolutely amazing, or not our vendors, our market coordinators, they're absolutely amazing. And we always say, hey, we feel like this person might be reselling, or we know this person is reselling, they told us, or whatever. And they go, what? And they go and they check it out, and they find out what's going on. But there's these, when you resell, you rob your customer. You as our customer are at that market. You've gone to the extra trouble to get to that market. You've gone to the extra trouble to watch this video or to look at us on Facebook. And we believe that you want to know your food story. And when somebody brings something out there, whether it's a plant that they bought and moved to a different container to sell, or it's a, I don't know, a pie that they bought and repackaged, I don't know. Just whatever it is, that robs you of something, because you're there to know your food story, and you don't know the true and accurate story when the vendors are doing that. So this one kind of ticks me off. It gets me mad, because I've seen the damage it can do when the resellers are allowed to just run rampant. It can destroy a market. But I just want y'all to know that our vision was very specifically people who wanted to know their food story. And so those of you who are here on our YouTube and you're on our Facebook and you come to us and you ask questions, you're what make us tick. You're the people that keep us out there, because we want to tell you about the onions. We want to tell you about the cole crops. And we're not always super chatty about it. We're a little bit more introverted in that respect, but we're excited when you have questions, and we're excited that you care enough to ask those questions. Our other vision for our farm was that we wanted it to feel like, I told you about my Mimi and Pop Pop, and I just kept thinking about all the times that I would spend the night with them and what it was like to wake up on their farm. We're first generation vegetable farmers, meaning that we are the first generation to do this for money, for full time. But my family and Brandon's family both did some gardening, just basically to make ends meet. Like, we needed some extra food on the table. And so my granddad had always done that. He used to sell, watermelons in the summer or whatever it was. And he would always have his garden. And I just remember waking up on his farm, and you could hear the chickens and the goats, and you could go out and see the cows on the pasture or whatever. And that's what we want our social media pages to be. We want you to get those little glimpses of life on the farm. Life on the farm is not always glamorous. There's a lot of times we cry and don't necessarily tell you all that. There's some hard stuff that goes on here, but there's also some really, really beautiful stuff that happens on the farm. And so that's what we've always tried to get our social media channels to be, is to let you glimpse that real life. And sometimes we're not as, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're as real life as we could be. Not that we don't tell y'all the truth, but I mean, we've got massive, massive farms and ranches around the country that have thousands and thousands of dollars and animals and whatever that's on the line if something goes wrong. And we're tiny in comparison. And so sometimes in that respect, it feels like maybe you're not really getting a true glimpse. But we hope that you're here to learn something about your food, and we hope that you're here to know that story from farm to fork, from seed to soup. Like, we want you to know where your food is coming from. And so that was very much our vision in the beginning. And I'm sure I'll do some more of these videos and kind of catch you up on some stuff. But that one was the one that just, to me, having food that people could really, truly know the whole story, exactly where it came from like, you know, whether it's a scorpion pepper plant that we bought because we can't get the seeds to start, and we put it in the ground and we grow the peppers and then I turn them into jam, like whatever it is, we want y'all to know how that happens. And so that's kind of our priority. This is kind of a long and rambly video, but I just really wanted y'all to hear that part of our story first. And I'll do some more of these, and I'll probably do some written posts and different things. So if you're not following us on Facebook, be sure and hop over there and find us there. And if this is the first YouTube video you've seen, be sure and follow us and subscribe to the channel so that you know when we make more content. This is the best way to really know where your food comes from. So thank y'all for joining us. Be sure and tell your friends about us, and come back when you can stay longer.